Hello everyone, I'm glad you're here listening to my LGBTQ education series. I really believe that it's important that everyone gets some level of an LGBTQ education, as it really promotes inclusivity and acceptance towards the LGBTQ community. In this episode, I'll be speaking about tourism for the LGBTQ community, and which countries are the most gay-friendly, and, sadly, those who are not so friendly. Third on my list of gay-friendly countries is Spain, becoming one of the first countries to recognise same-sex marriage, permitting adoptions, LGBT military service and blood donations from MSMs in 2005, despite strong opposition from the powerful Catholic Church. Same-sex relations have been legal in Spain since 1979. LGBT people have been allowed to serve in the military, while people are protected from discrimination regarding sexual orientation nationwide. Gender identity protections are also in place, although not nationwide. Also, transgender people are legally allowed to change their gender without sex reassignment surgery and sterilization. It's also important to note how accepting the Spanish are. In a spring 2019 Pew Research survey, 89% of Spaniards said homosexuality should be accepted by society, while just 10% said it should not be accepted. Finally, with an annual Pride Parade in Madrid that basically lasts almost an entire month, becoming the third city to host World Pride in 2017, and 2 official LGBTQ beaches in Barcelona, Spain has a huge gay scene, attracting tourists from all over the world. It's also important to note, which honestly I love that they have this, Barcelona has Axel's Hotels, the world's only heterosexual-friendly hotel chain. Honestly, this just shows how much the gays love Spain. Second most gay-friendly on my list, again from research I've carried out, not personal experience, is New Zealand. I mean, who can forget the images of New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern joining in with the Pride Parade festivities back in 2018, becoming the first Prime Minister to do so. She was joined by her openly gay Finance Minister, Grant Robertson, and openly lesbian MP, Louisa Wall. Ardern actually revoked her Mormon upbringing because she said the religion didn't account for her gay friends. Some of New Zealand's most popular LGBTQ events are Auckland Pride Festival, Big Gay Out, and Queenstown's Gay Ski Week. These are popular among Kiwis and foreign tourists alike. In terms of legislature, same-sex relations for males has been legal since 1986, and always legal for females, and at the same time, marking the age of consent equally at the age of 16. Same-sex couples have been allowed civil unions since 2005, and marriage and adoption for same-sex couples has been possible since 2013. Transgender people are allowed to change their legal gender, gay, lesbian, and bisexual people are allowed to serve in the military, and people are legally shielded from discrimination regarding sexual orientation and gender identity and/or expression since 1993. Opinion polls have found that a majority of New Zealanders support same-sex marriage, and it's unlikely that LGBT couples will face any sort of problems from Kiwis, who historically are famously accepting of all sexual orientations and people expressing their gender. Top of the list, as I've determined from multiple sources, the most gay-friendly country in the world is Canada. Each year, Canada hosts major LGBTQ events, such as Toronto Pride, Fierté Montréal, and Vancouver Pride, which people in the LGBTQ community come from places all over the world to attend. Canada has some of the most progressive LGBT legislation, making same-sex sexual activities legal in 1969, while LGBT people have been allowed to serve openly in the military since 1992. Same-sex marriage has been legally available throughout Canada since 2005, while adoption is legal, although the conditions vary across each province and territory. Canada is also one of the few countries to allow change of name and legal sex in every province and territory without gender reassignment surgery. The majority of Canada is also accepting of the LGBTQ community. In a survey carried out by the Canadian government in 2019, 91.8% of Canadians responded that they'd be comfortable with a lesbian, gay, or bisexual neighbour, while 87.6% said they'd be comfortable with a transgender neighbour. While most of the country's LGBTQ residents live in the 3 largest cities, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, gay villages can actually be found in many large towns and cities across Canada, and there are queer events carried out in many of these destinations, such as LGBTQ film festivals, drag performances, and scenic rainbow trade rides. Sadly, while there are even more countries like the ones that I've listed that accept or even embrace LGBTQ plus tourism, there are countries in the world in which visiting is extremely dangerous for those in the LGBTQ plus community. Third on my list of dangerous countries for the gay community is Malaysia. Malaysia has intense natural beauty, with beautiful beaches, islands, and UNESCO World Heritage Sites, making it a very popular tourist destination. However, it is the least safe Asian country that I have found for tourists in the LGBTQ plus community. Even as recently as 2019, Malaysia's tourism minister denied the existence of gay people in the country. Despite this, the punishment for homosexuality is severe, and the country is under Sharia law, with punishments of up to 20 years in prison, flogging, and financial penalties. Recently, there have even been proposals to increase punishments towards the LGBTQ plus community. LGBTQ plus travellers, beware! Second on my list of dangerous countries for queer people is Qatar. This Middle Eastern country also imposes Sharia law, which includes up to 3 years in prison, flogging, and/or the death penalty under Sharia law for any acts of homosexuality. The punishment depends on the level of crime assessed by the government. Qatar is set to be the host of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, becoming the first of Arab countries to host a World Cup. During this period, tourism is expected to increase exponentially. However, despite proposals to suspend anti-LGBT laws during this period, the Qatari government has rejected the efforts, making tourism for LGBTQ people impossible. From my research, again not my experience, the most dangerous country for LGBTQ plus people is Nigeria. In Nigeria, 91% of the population believe homosexuality should not be accepted by society. In states under Sharia law, Islamic religious law, which is enacted in some northern states, those who are convicted of homosexuality will be sentenced to death. In other states, the punishment is also harsh, giving 14 years of imprisonment to those convicted. Tourists who are believed to be homosexuals, or the wider LGBTQ plus community, will likely face discrimination and violence. South Africa is probably the most accepting country in Africa, with 54% of South Africans believing homosexuality should be accepted by society. Here, during Pride festivals, participants have protested for the rights of LGBT people in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. Although, like I said in previous episodes, homophobia is largely a colonial import, with homosexuality and gender expression practiced in African tribes prior to colonialism. Thank you for listening to another episode of my podcast. Sorry for the delay in the release. I do hope you enjoyed the episode, though. The next episode will be released on Monday, so do subscribe to be notified, and share it with your friends and family, so as many people as possible can get an LGBTQ plus education. Well, as best as I can do at least. Thanks again, bye!